From strangers to soulmates, the unforgettable journey of Mia and Alex. Alex had always been the kind of guy who never looked twice at a woman. That is, until he met Mia. They met in the most cliché way possible, at a bar. She was the one sitting at the counter, nursing a glass of whiskey when he walked in. All it took was one look from across the room for him to forget his friends and walk over to where she sat. She was everything he wasn't, a whirlwind of emotions and a force to be reckoned with. He was drawn to her like a moth to a flame, even though he knew he might get burned. Their first date was at a dive bar, dark and smoky with cheap drinks and even cheaper music. It was the kind of place where you went to forget your troubles. Not the kind of place you'd expect to find a girl like Mia, but there she was, laughing at his jokes, even the bad ones, and buying him drink after drink until they both stumbled out into the night, hand in hand. He never thought he'd fall in love, let alone fall in love with a woman who was his complete opposite. She was a free spirit, a travel blogger who lived out of a backpack and had a different story to tell about every country she visited. He was a homebody, a writer who found comfort in routine and the familiarity of his surroundings. Their first fight was inevitable. They were just too different. She wanted to go to a crowded party, but he wanted to stay in and watch a movie. In the end, they compromised and ordered takeout and watched a movie together in the quiet of their apartment. It was then that he realized that opposites do attract. He loved the way her mind worked, how she could come up with a solution to any problem. He loved the way she looked at the world, how she found beauty in the smallest of things. And most of all, he loved the way she made him feel alive. The more time he spent with her, the more he realized that she was the missing piece of his soul. She was the one he'd been searching for his entire life without even knowing it. When she smiled at him, the world stood still. When she touched him, fireworks went off in his chest. And when she whispered sweet nothings in his ear, he felt like he was on top of the world. He never thought he'd be the kind of guy who would fall in love, let alone fall in love with a woman who was his complete opposite. But then again, opposites attract. And in their differences, they found their strengths. In her free spirit, he found adventure. In her spontaneity, he found excitement. And in her love for life, he found a reason to live. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with, a whirlwind of emotions and a storm of passion. And as they danced through life, hand in hand, they knew that they were meant to be together. For better or for worse, they were bound by a love that defied all odds, a love that was written in the stars.